So happy you could join us. We are joined as always by Greg Engert, beer director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, a food and wine sommelier of the year. The group includes Where We Are, Blue Jacket, Arsenal, the restaurant here, also of course Church Key and Birch and Barley here in the district. Greg, it is always good to see you. I must first say I was going to be slightly obnoxious and wear my Seahawks jersey for this episode, but I just decided to go with a little green. Sorry, Denver Broncos fans, but
Brennan's the only guy who enjoyed the game.
Yeah, just about.
But enjoyed it immensely, I'm sure.
What is on tap this week?
So this is an appropriate celebration beer for Mr. Haselton because he doesn't hide his love for all things hoppy and bitter.
That's true.
And it's really cool, you know, over time, in the DC craft beer scene just continues to grow and more products become available. We've talked about Terrapin and Foothills and a number of other breweries coming to market. And one of the breweries that we've been kind of anticipating for some time has just arrived, and that's Ithaca Beer Company out of upstate New York, the Finger Lakes region in Ithaca. And with them, they bring their flagship IPA called Flower Power, which if you like IPAs, you've probably had, you probably sought it out. I'm from upstate New York near Schenectady, Albany area, so every time I go home, my father makes sure to have this freshly stocked for me. Now it's great to be able to have it in the district. So yeah, we're having Flower Power IPA, a fantastic, really fruit-forward IPA that balances malt to bitterness. It's more about the aromatic hop intensity than it is about the bittering propensity on the finish.
Beautiful color.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a nice beer.
Yeah, it's
great hop taste, but not overpowering.
Yeah, no,
not a punch in the face, not too much.
So the trick with this beer, and the cool thing, so this beer, you know, Ithaca's been around since 1998, so they've been around for some time now, making fantastic stuff. And their brewmaster back in 2007 was a guy named Jeff O'Neill. He's known in brewing circles as Chief. He's actually since left Ithaca to start his own project called Peekskill Brewing Company, also in upstate New York. And actually, Peekskill was a brewery that Blue Jacket collaborated with before our opening. We brewed a wit beer with blood oranges and Britannomyces called Share the Rainbow with Allagash and Peekskill, which was great. So when Jeff was at Ithaca, he developed this recipe, and it became a home run. And of course, Ithaca beer is certainly not slowed down in his departure. They make some of the most amazing, really hard to find beers out there in addition to Flower Power. In fact, we just launched them at Church Key this past week, and they brought us some really rare bottles of beer, and I got to taste Old Habit, which is their bourbon barrel imperial stout. Amazing stuff. So they've got a lot of great stuff to offer, but Flower Power is the flagship. And what they do with this is, you know, this is going back to 2007, is back end the hopping. So, you know, the earlier we add hops in the brewing process, the more bitterness we extract, less aroma intensity is maintained. So they hop this 4 different times during the boil, and then they hop it again in the whirlpool following the boil. But then the dry hopping is really where a lot of the aromas come from. And when you smell this, you get that big kind of orange and floral quality that's associated with Amarillo and with Centennial hops. So those are the 2 of the big dry hops used here. And then there's an underpinning of pine and citrus that's exuded from the use of Simcoe hops. So that's where you're getting a lot of the aromas. But in the boil, they're using Simcoe again for that piney bitterness. A tannum, which is a cool kind of cascade-like hop that's kind of floral and citric as well. And even some Citra hops, which are, you know, kind of the classic hop. Actually, it's the hop that you see in Stone and Joy by IPA as well. That's got that kind of earthy, resinous quality to it.
So if you see this, buy this, drink it right away, obviously.
Super fresh.
This can be a challenge. Would you pair this with?
Well, I mean, you made a great point. You know, IPAs and bitter beers can be difficult. You made a great point, though. They definitely work on this beer. It's not a malty IPA. It's very light and airy and refreshing on the palate. But the bitterness is very balanced. So you don't have to worry too much about that. I mean, I'm thinking, for some reason, in the nose, I get a lot of like fruit salsa qualities to it. You know, that tropical fruit. So It's really great with simply prepared fishes, but also I think fantastic with like Mexican dishes, so like fish tacos, even more simply nachos of any kind. But it's really kind of bringing that almost, it's almost got like that fruit salsa, almost salsa verde chutney kind of quality to it. It's really cool.
Excellent. And be sure to tune back in over the next few weeks. We are going to try some Blue Jacket beers in the very near future. Greg, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Everyone, please always do drink responsibly, and be sure to bring your thirst next time for another Beer of the Week.